Yes. All right. I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's begin. Vamos? Vámonos?
Vamos. Listo. Como tú quieras.
Yes. All right. So, how are you doing? Welcome back from vacation. Hope you had a good one.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Visited Europe, Switzerland, Spain.
Okay.
Nice.
Switzerland and Spain. That's quite a combination.
Yes, I know.
From the cold mountains to the warm, well, not like savanna, but like some areas are like near desert-like, right?
Yeah, far warmer than Switzerland. Although I live in Minnesota, so that's kind of like
Okay.
negative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Constant
yeah.
blizzards and stuff.
All right, so a little bit of the vacation was to still feel a little bit like at home, and the other one to get a nice contrast. So you have like family from there, or?
Yeah, my mom's side of the family lives in Spain, and so we went to visit friends of her in Switzerland.
I see. Okay. Yeah, Swiss people are like from all over the place. Like
They really are.
If you meet people from Switzerland, they'll have, you go like one family branch out, and you have like 16 nationalities like every single time.
No, absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
And the New Year's like party, we had like Italians, Germans, people from Spain. It's
Austria, Belgians, probably Scandinavians in there. Like every single country, yeah.
Yeah, although it was weird that they speak German, but they speak like a different dialect of German. So
yeah,
like,
Schweizerdeutsch.
They were telling me that Germans can't even understand them when they speak, and I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah, it depends on how hard they try. But yeah, there was one guy from Switzerland when I was on exchange in Norway, and then yeah, like he told me about like his direct family, and there were like more nationalities within his direct family than all of the nationalities of all of the Erasmus that was like in the same group. It was weird, and like most people speak like 5 or 6 languages on like a okay conversational level because there's just so much going on. But people switch very quickly as well, and they're like within conversation just switch between 3 languages just to make sure that they get the right message across and such. It's a very interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I went out a couple times, and everybody like at least they speak like solid English.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
I think they could probably speak very solid like French, English, and German, and then a bunch of other stuff. They've got like some papiamento and whatever, like, whatever, like Tiroler German from the south, and like Northern Italian, which is like a little bit different as well. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on there. So that was cool, and now you're back and you are ready to go ham.
I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Okay. So what situation are you in right now, and what direction or goal would you like to achieve with the Phantom?
I can kind of give you. I have it written down, my short-term and long-term goals.
Sure, go for it.
So my short-term goals are pretty much 20 starring CRA, Golux, and Sweetwater, as well as transition into Arcanes. I'm also working into reaching level 260.
Okay.
And hopefully with all that put together, I can be in a contesting spot for Vigila. Starting to clear that and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then long term, obviously, 22 starring, 275 Black Mage, and for the long term, I'm looking at like a year and a half-ish to be done with those.
A year and a half-ish, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you want to be like running Black Mage or have your first clear kind of done?
To be realistic, probably running Black Mage at that point, because I know that a lot of parties struggle with the first clear.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a hurdle you have to overcome.
Yeah, KMS is now in the current test server releasing the practice mode for Black Mage that is not going to consume entries, so that's going to be hopefully a huge help.
Oh, nice. Maybe I can ride that wave. That would be helpful.
Are these eggs? Oh, this is an etc. Okay, these are not the buffs, right?
Nah, that's just literally like I kind of like hoard items, like items.
I see some items that I'm like, why are these in here? But as long as you have enough room, then whatever you want to do.
Yeah. The description fills you with hope. At least that's what it says.
I'm not one to
whenever
judge.
I'm feeling down, whenever I'm feeling down, I just look at them.
Okay, cool. these are the same droplets as in your inventory, right? Just like.
No, that actually there's a
Oh no, they're
I
different
have
amounts.
more. Yeah. So the first picture is up to date. The second one was kind of just me showing because I don't know how useful crafting and all that situation is moving into late game. So I'm like, I'm gonna just take a picture of absolutely everything.
So all the droplets in the second picture are included in the first one, but updated in the first one.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, cool. Just to make sure. All right, that's a good amount. And you have, where's the will?
I have not even started. Yeah.
Okay, so will is the.
Like,
okay. That's the. Okay, will is going to be the, because you technically have enough for the 3 items, right? You've got 12 if you wanted to buy all 3 of the Lucid, and then if you had also 36 will, then you could do the full switch.
And I forgot to include that, but I got a cape drop from Lucid.
Oh, very nice. Okay, that means that the droplets could start going towards backups, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
It does mean that if you do start running the same at the them at the same time, you'll end up like with 12 drops at the same time, right? So you might as well just get the weapon from the Lucid droplets at that point, because the area droplets are fully exchangeable. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Even with the 5, 10, 15, I wanted to ask, how should I transition efficiently towards Arcane? Given the 5, 10, 15 that's coming up, and also like the 17 star scrolls in the shop. I was wondering if that might be worth looking into, like just buying maybe like the weapon and like the glove and getting those to 17 star and hoping that I get, which is obviously unreliable.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if I should take advantage of the 5, 10, 15s or just keep on grinding and wait until I have every single droplet to get to do the smooth transition.
The smooth transition, yeah. The main thing that kind of goes into that is the question of how much damage you feel like you need. Like, is there any direct desire for more damage? Because it feels like you need to get a bunch of levels first before you can get into the Tenebrous bosses, right? Because the damage penalty is going to be too big now. But at the same time, you're probably at the point where if you would start guessing, maybe the luck, like the hard Lucid runs, I'm guessing are no problem with the party.
Yeah, that's it's a breeze.
Yeah, and but you have not done hard will at all yet. Is the rest of your party doing it, and can you start, or do you have to start looking for a separate party for that?
Me and my party, we've been practicing. There's 2 people, myself included, in the party that have kind of like the mechanics down. The other ones are still trying to get that ball rolling. I know the other guy in my guild is finding like filler positions or just randoms on a weekly to weekly basis. I've been too lazy to do that. I've been using like Reboot Central, but that is it's a fest.
Has varying levels of success usually, right?
Yeah, 1 minute I have 5 parties, the next one they're all filled by guildies, and I'm like, alright, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of first come first serve, and big numbers help to get in, kind of thing.
Yeah. As a phantom, I'm always like, alright, more damage.
Yeah. What is your BA at? Do you know that?
I haven't actually done one, but judging from the score lines when we do like Lucid and stuff, I'm usually like 3rd or 4th, and the average BA is like 3T on my party. So I'm assuming I'm somewhere around there.
Have you done Culvert recently?
Yeah.
What do you get to in Culvert? If you're like going quite sweaty, like trying pretty hard.
And I think sitting at like 760-ish, around there.
760 points?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. I can't really use that. Because that's like half of what my Adele gets at 240. That's really weird. Okay.
And some life.
Yeah, I guess so. But you have a lot of final... Okay. Yeah, you have some really short burst skills, right?
Yeah,
but you have them pretty often, like not the longest cooldown, right?
Yeah, slightly. Like my the luck of the draw, which is like the burst of cards. That cooldown is like 150, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so you can, yeah, so if it was like 30 seconds lower, you could use 2 in a culvert, and now you can only use 1. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
That
I
sucks.
can't really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Adele could use a lot of the things twice, so it gives it like a huge advantage. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I guess that helps out.
Phantom, not good burst for culvert, right? Well, it seems not, because if with these stats, you can only get 670, then you're just cucked on culvert super hard. Because like my Adele is 31k stat or something at level 240 and hits like 1.1, 1.2, which is, yeah, that's really unfair.
Yeah.
That's ridiculously unfair to you, but yeah, what are you gonna do about
It's
it?
super annoying, but I'm used to it. I love the class. So.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, do you if you're trying to join parties, like what do you do to sweet talk the people? Like what kind of party capabilities or what kind of DPM story do you tell them to get in there?
I'm like, I will not die out, right? Because I have like 17 iframes.
Yeah, I think it's actually only 16.
Then,
Don't lie, please. Okay.
yeah. And then you know what? At the beginning, I thought that stealing heal, the bishop skill, would work on Will, but the coordination in order for me to use that, it's unbearable. Like everybody has to have like the pot thing on phase 2. Like
the pot
up.
thing? Oh, for Will, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Unless if not, I can't heal you.
Yeah.
But that's often what I'm like. Hey, I can heal you in phase 2. Blah blah blah.
Does the heal do the 10% final damage increase on targets as well?
You see, that's something that I can add to spice up the line. Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you have a permanent 10% final damage buff to a party, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Because it almost puts you at mechanic level of support already. Because mechanic is like 15, right? With the tower.
I'm not sure about that.
Well,
yeah, no, the 10% final damage is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got to use what you have, right? Like, not like lie about it, but I mean, you have to. I don't know if you have other boss debuffs that you can do. You don't. You don't have any blind.
No.
I guess knowing the mechanics and doing good callouts and helping people who might be struggling, I guess would be. But that's more of a mental support than damage support. Yeah.
That's usually what I go for. So like I'll usually do like call outs and things of that sort. But in terms of damage, there's only so much that I can.
Yeah, exactly.
Out. And so I was debating whether or not to just go for the arcane stuff right now, since I'm just really unlucky on like star forcing and everything. Like my experience has been absolutely dreadful. I'm like, all right, this might be like a good deal, but I was also thinking on just pushing it more towards the anniversary and take advantage of like the usual no boom rooms. Hopefully, I'm not jinxing it.
Yeah, no boom seems to be very uncommon in KMS, and then sometimes we get it from other regions and stuff, but I don't think any region has gotten a no boom since then. But there is like some crazy star forcing events in KMS going on where it's like 30% off and 5, 10, 15 at the same time.
Oh yeah,
So
I saw that on the patch notes.
Yeah, that's like basically like a blanket 50% off everything. So that's pretty good. If you're gonna like push 22s and stuff, then that's when you want to do it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm usually pretty reluctant myself to get 22s. I think if you get a lot of 21s, you're already golden. You know, like if all your stuff gets a 21 and your CRA is like 19 or something, which is pretty reliable. Plus, you're gonna be able to get back up soon. Maybe keep your weapon at 17. Maybe push the other pieces because weapon boom is pretty expensive. So if you get a weapon drop or something, then you can try. I feel like you'll probably be Black Mage ready at that point. Maybe not as Phantom for like main damage dealer and everything, but the main thing for Black Mage for practicing is to have your mechanics be on point, and having a lot of iframes will just allow you to keep doing damage and solidified damage, and everyone else is going to be worrying about surviving, so your damage output compared to everyone else is probably going to have quite an advantage, at least early on, until everyone gets the mechanics down.
Yeah, that's what I'm betting on.
Yeah. Do you so when it comes to will, were you guys doing normal or hard already?
We were doing normal
Mm-hmm.
at start. Um, I don't know if I have the damage for Heart Will. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how the Lucid and Will compare to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I do normal Will pretty confidently. So I think I could do in terms of like mechanics and such. Heart Will.
Mm-hmm.
The question is always damage.
Yeah, well, if you're staying with the same party and you say normal, sorry, hard lucid is a breeze, then hard will should be doable as well, as long as everyone gets the mechanics down. I don't think that'll be any problem. Plus, you're with
Okay.
the same problem, so hopefully you've built up some rapport and some goodwill. Not like they're gonna kick you because they want to clear faster or something. Because the
Yeah,
main
yeah,
the
yeah.
main thing with hard will is that you are kind of time gated by the tests. So as long as you can hit those limits of the tests, getting way more damage doesn't really help until phase 3.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then you
Yeah,
can
I
just
feel
blow
like
up
the
phase 3
mechanics.
faster. But if everyone has lives left, then there's no rush in phase 3.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I feel like the mechanics are a priority
Yeah,
in Will when compared to like with Lucid when it's just like straight up just damage her.
yeah. Because one death can just cost you 2 minutes if it's at the wrong time.
Exactly, and
Yeah,
it's like a domino effect. I feel like sometimes with
yeah,
Will.
yeah. You get deaths in phase 1 and slow down. You get more pressure and people get a little bit more nervous. That can lead
Hmm.
to like in phase 2 having a little bit more pressure on you. And then if you die too much in phase 2 or you mess up tests in phase 2, then the timer will start getting set off. And if no one keeps track of the timer, that can surprise some people on tests. And all you need is one person to get surprised a little bit too much for a test or be inverted, walk the wrong way, and you lose another 2 minutes. And as soon as someone dies out, you have one fewer cleanser on phase 3, and that will mean more buildup of webs and more having uh, to cleanse in the corners, and if you don't do that properly, you get seals and die on moves, and then more people die out, and then you fail. Yeah, that's definitely how Will is set up to try to like funnel you down a corridor of failure. So you have
Yeah.
to stay on top of it from the beginning, and then if you do that, then you're fine. So is there anything specifically on Will that you could use some more advice and some tips on, or maybe something that you can help to tell your teammates? I don't know what they're mainly messing up on. I'm guessing it's just like phase 2 getting hit and not getting hit with the crack, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's
that's the normal
uh
normal thing that people get messed up on.
yeah. I usually try to tell them about the crystal in the back, which
Mhm.
is a great tell for the get hit.
Mhm.
But personally for me, I'm still like sometimes I mess up like the eyes in phase 3. Like I don't know exactly which attack is gonna use,
Mhm.
so I end up like overspending some iframes when I don't need to. I could have just moved to the right or
Right.
left.
Yeah, because you have the flash
Um,
jump, right? The flash. I don't know if your teleport is good when you just like spam that teleport, but just using the flash jump is usually enough, right?
yeah, to dodge it, yeah.
Yeah, so I
Um,
usually never look at the eyes or at the color of the eyes. I look at the positioning of the spider.
mhm.
Because when it's the one where you have to move, he stands up on his legs like really really high, and he basically touches the ceiling of the map, or at least touches the top webs. That one is usually pretty obvious for me that stands out. But that's the one where you have to move, and then the one where he lunges back looks a little bit more like the regular attacks, but it's still a bigger effect. So usually I call stay or move based on his positioning, and you also know that he
The
alternate like
spider.
not always, but he alternates most of the time. So usually after there's a move, I say like next one's probably stay, and then once you say it, once you say it, it's easier to respond to it quicker. Then you say like next one's probably move. I always say probably there because it's not 100%. And after a bind, he also resets. So if I see him unbound, I'm like careful unbound, so that everyone's like, oh yeah, he can do one or the other, just to give
Exactly.
everyone a little bit of a heads up to be prepared. But yeah, you get better at that as well, and like the perfect timing. And sometimes you just have a shit run where there's a little bit more desync, and you just you just get hit a few times. But as long as you didn't clown phase 1 and 2, then you're totally okay still.
Yeah. I can usually get by phase 1 and 2
Hmm.
pretty easily. So I have a couple spare lives for for
Yeah,
phase 3.
yeah, that's nice. I don't know if you do any of the other classes who are struggling in your party. Do you know what jobs they are? I don't know, maybe specifically class specific.
I know, yeah, I know for specifically the two people who are struggling the most are a Blade Master and a Night Lord.
Hmm.
Which I mean that's kind of like the Night Lord life. Uh, Struggling with like iframes or surviving and stuff. But
Hmm.
yeah, they feel like they struggle a lot. But I feel like it's just mostly practice. You know, the more we practice, the more
Yeah.
we
Do
get
do
used
they
to it
know
and
that they
stuff.
can dark side through the web in phase 2?
No, because even I didn't know that.
Yeah, you could just you have dark side too, right? You could just stand on the web in dark side and just walk through it. If the web does pop up, if you're like stuck in a corner or something, or if you're gonna get pushed on it, dark side just allows you to walk through that.
Up less dark side.
Yep, that shit's so broken.
It is.
Yeah, and for for phase 2, and like for most of phase 1 and phase 3, it's mainly just try to stay on the other side of him than the side that he's facing. So if you know which person generally gets the aggro, just try to be on the opposite side of where they are, and then the person who gets the aggro just has to find better ways of dealing with getting knocked back and everything. But the main thing is going to be getting knocked back when you're jumping, getting pushed into the corner, possibly getting reversed and or sealed by the corner in phase 3, and then that combination of changed inputs is going to mess you up.
Right, okay.
But yeah, dark side for the webs is probably going to be a good thing, and then for the dual blades, it's mainly just like keep your chains until you absolutely have to. But they'll get better at that as well. They'll be able to survive more and more in situations where they don't absolutely need to iframe, and then when they do end up really needing an iframe, it'll be up because it's a pretty short cooldown. So they'll get better at it, no doubt.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I could see you. I mean, if hard lucid is a breeze, I could see you clearing a hard will pretty quickly. I don't know if you guys are like practicing daily or like a few times a week or what.
Nah, it's usually like right after we clear Lucid.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody will say like will, and
Mm-hmm.
then people are like might, and
Yeah.
then we kind of like get it running. But there are weeks where we just don't practice because people have stuff to do or
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
But I think just for the benefit of me kind of like reaching those goals, I'll probably start looking into joining maybe like a random party on a weekly basis so I can start getting those droplets
Yeah, especially
going.
if they decide not to run that week, then just still get your practice and your clear in for that week. But it is,
Yeah.
yeah, it is ideal, of course, to run both bosses with the same party because it does get annoying if you have like 16 different parties going on all different bosses and your characters, and it gets very
Yeah,
hectic to show up for everything. And
that's what I was thinking. Cause like if I start clearing Will, I'll obviously get like sort of like an advantage.
hmm.
Um, and then I'll be like at a different level than they are, so I'll probably look into more. And I don't want to get to that point. I kind of want everybody to progress at the
Hmm.
same time, but
Yeah.
people have stuff to do and stuff. So
Yeah, maybe around the same time slot where you usually run. Check if people are available, maybe like another day, because that's what we did in the beginning. We would run like 3 or 4 times a week in the beginning to get the
Mhm.
mechanics down, and then once you have the mechanics down and you know what you're doing, then you could just do hard lucid and hard will right after the other, and just get it all done. Maybe it takes more than half an hour to do both. Maybe it takes a little bit longer because of the transition from one to the other one. Maybe you don't have that much guild skills left, so some people want to relog in case of crashing and stuff. Although it's not as bad anymore now. There was a time where you had to relog in between every single thing you did, just to prevent crashing and everything. So thank God that's not as much the case anymore.
hmm
But yeah, ideally everyone's on the same page and grows at roughly the same rate, so you can move forward to that. Because yeah, that's where you want to be, and I assume that's where everyone in the party kind of wants to be as well, right? To be able to get those clears, but it can be frustrating in the beginning if you are met with repeated failure, of course.
yeah, it is, but I'm not like super hard
Mm-hmm.
judge. It's fine. Like obviously, me being a phantom gives me a lot more like versatility to like
Yeah, to dodge.
cover for my
So,
mistakes and stuff.
yeah.
Whereas like a Night Lord, he only has like Dark Side, which is a big help. But
Darkseid is great, yeah, but that's the only one you've got. Like Freud's alone is like more than their entire kit has in survivability.
so, yeah,
I guess speaking of that, is there oh shit, I forgot what was. Oh yeah, yeah. How are you guys doing on healing familiars? Because that definitely makes phase 2 a whole lot easier, and 1 and 3 as well,
um,
honestly.
yeah. I think mine's. I think I uploaded the picture there. I don't know if that's
Hmm.
like good enough. Um, but I usually do pretty well with like recoveries
Hmm.
in phase two because of like the pot and heal and like the familiar. So I have like full pharmacy
Yeah,
on my back.
yeah.
But I'm actually not 100% sure on the party's kind of like situation on healing familiars. I know that like at least 3 or 4 of us have them.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say for sure if everybody is. You know,
Do you have a unique weird card?
I,
What is
I
this?
do, but it's so bad. I think it's it
Was it from a booster pack, or did you just drop like that? What happened?
no, it was I'd actually did like the change.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got like a pack, and then I opened it, and there he was, and to my surprise, he's giving me 3 seconds of invincibility and increased defense
Yeah, of
for
course.
all my allies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so nothing. Okay.
so absolutely nothing.
Yeah, healing large amount is where you want to get to. Have you been making epic familiars at all?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. So I usually grind in LH6,
Yeah.
because it's pretty like chill for me. I can just on a show or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I've been going about it is I have kind of like my 2 sets right there. I have like the IED and like the healings that I have for now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm leveling up like random ones to get them to epic. So I just feed them constantly what I'm grabbing from the floor and looting.
Yep.
I think I'm almost at the point where I can give. Yeah, I'm almost at the point where I can level up the 2 rare ones to epic. So hopefully I can roll solid lines there.
Did you stay in Arcana way longer, or in like Celis or something?
I stayed in Celis until 250.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because a lot of people try to go to Moonbridge very quickly, like sometimes even at like 245 or something. So they have like 8 levels of familiars at this point, so they have more epics. So I'm trying to like situate that. Yeah. So that's like the upside is that you really don't have to fight anyone over maps, and you can get pretty good rates, right? But the downside is that you do take a hit and you slow down your progress on familiars, because you do want to get those familiars with large healing, especially if you don't like you typically don't need the like if you. Right, okay, so in the beginning, you want to get just a lot of healing to make sure that everyone can get more practice in for the mechanics without getting punished as hard. And then once everyone gets better and better, you specifically want to be moving into, well, either you want to dedicate more to being like the support almost, and then go full healing, and then everyone else can go higher on damage, because of course if the Night Lord and a Dual Blade can go full damage, because they can rely on your healing from your familiars, that'll make it easier for them to conform the damage that's already higher than yours, and as a result, the runs might speed up. Or if they don't get any and they only have healing familiars, then they can do the healing for you, and if you get bossing familiars, then you can equip them, and then you can like rise to the next level on damage, because if you can just add 60% boss damage, that'd be obviously huge for you, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So at this point you just want to make as many epics as possible and start definitely churning those out, because those results on your unique card are not unique. That's going to be most of your familiars that you reveal. So yeah.
Is there like any worth into like dismantling the familiars and buying like the booster packs, or should I just stick with, just leveling them through some feeding?
I think like booster packs have an okay chance of epics. But you need 2,000 points, and it's 1 per day. What should you get again for dismantling like a common and a rare? Is it 10 and 20? Familiar. I have it written down somewhere.
Yeah, per rare is 10, and for epics is 15.
Oh, 15, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be 200 rares for 1 booster pack?
2 stacks.
If you make a lot, I don't know how many characters you would do it, but basically you would also be slowing yourself down for making uniques, and then uniques are typically, they're typically shit, but they have the top line is unique and the second line is an epic line, right? So you're basically making a unique and an epic at the same time with that. I could honestly say that you could do a combination, and if you do get a lot of cards, you can make a booster pack here and there. I'm not sure if anyone has hardcore done the maths on that to see what the viability is there. I have gotten quite some epics, especially also like rare cards that would unlock badge slots, which could help you get to 10 slots as well. That seems to, I don't know if I'm like specifically lucky there, but I've gotten a lot of like demolishizers, Captain Pirates, like Dragon War, like those kind of cards just from booster packs. I think the rates must be higher, or I'm getting ridiculously lucky on those. But also a decent amount of epics, and I have opened one that came with a large item or large item drop rate as well on the epic, because I mean there is a chance for it. So if you feel like you have so many cards that you can even level them up properly anyway, you might as well try your luck.
Yeah, because that's kind of like what I'm facing right now. I have like 15 sets of 100 for the suit talents, which is a LH6 monster. So I'm like, maybe I could start like dismantling like little by little and opening like one pack a week, something like that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be. I don't think that's bad. I mean, generally it's like commons and rares, but a lot of times they also help you with the badges, right? Are you working towards your 10 badges?
I have not. Ever since I before I left, I kind of like unlocked like the third one. But I need to get on that.
Yeah, so if you check the familiar guide that I have, there's like a little list in the bottom there with the easiest badges to get. So that would be why does it always open so weird? I want it to open like this. That's way sexier. Wait, does it? There you go. That's cooler, right? Than opening like this. This is so strange. Because since I got like copy link and all this. Fuck that. There you go. Yeah, so from these, you have drop rate gear, right?
Yeah.
So that shouldn't take too long to get these. But yeah, ideally like the S and the A tier. That's already 11 of them. So pick between those should be. I guess the ones that you cannot get yet is the Apocalypse badge, right? So if you get all the other ones up here, those are all like very, very doable. No like bosses required, no major long hunting sessions or whatever. So yeah, that should be fine.
I think with my drop rate gear, I get to like 100 something, like mid 100s. So I still need a little bit more. When I got the starter batch, I spent like 20 to 30 minutes killing like the green snails for the for the job. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Did you use Legion coupons as well? Or drop rate coupons?
No, I didn't, because I'm like, it shouldn't take that long, but it did.
Yeah, but it will, yeah. Well, the thing is, if you're going for a lot of cards and a lot of sets, and you do have coupon left, you just go for the next one, right?
Yeah, the thing is, I'm starting to like save up a little bit for just, I don't know how much Legion upgrade is. I'm currently, I think I'm like 9 levels away. Oh, see, that's another thing that I didn't upgrade, because I leveled up the burning character.
Okay.
I'm at 6991. So
Okay.
I'm 9 levels away from 70k.
If you want to know how much the upgrade is, you can, if you find Dame Appropriation, you can talk to her, and she will tell you how much the next upgrade will be.
Oh, wait,
if
it's female?
Well, I think so, because the first name is Dame, which is usually, I think, for ladies. But I don't know. But I always assumed, because Dame Appropriation, no? I think raise Legion rank, and then it says how much the next one is.
It's 1,000.
Yeah.
That's free.
Yeah. For me, it's 2.3k at 9k, so should be pretty doable. He looks like a guy. Well, but the first name is Dame, so.
Let's get a poll going. Is it a guy or a girl?
Yeah. Doesn't even matter though.
Yeah. I know. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good buffer, right? You got more than enough coins.
Yeah. I usually don't run low on coins.
Because the benefit will be you'll get more options in finding the set that you need. In between bossing and healing for when you're doing the boss, when you're doing bosses like Hard Will, and then if you get more ID and boss damage ones, you'll be able to throw all of those on, and not be in any kind of trouble. Plus, if you get ID out of it and no boss, that might also mean that you can roll out of some ID that you currently have, because see, you have quite a lot when you're buffed, right? I assume there's at
when I'm
least
fully buffed.
Yeah, and because there's one line on the secondary with because that will probably mean that you can re-roll the secondary, because it's got one of those junky 20% lines, and then the ID will become unnecessary, so then you can kind of start rolling that one to see if you get something juicy, right?
Yeah, that 20% line's eating me alive.
Yeah, and they've removed it now from existing in the unique category, but they said
You
that they're,
forgot?
well, they didn't forget. They said specifically that they're not going to upgrade the existing ones to 30. So,
Oh.
yeah, fuck us, I guess.
Literally just fuck us.
Yeah. I got my secondary on my Demon Avenger. The first cube I used was 12 attack, 20 boss, 9 attack. So I kept that forever, but that's gonna also apparently stay like that forever. It's never gonna get upgraded, so, well, rip, yeah.
Rip.
But yeah, this is a fun
Yeah,
set. But that gives you, like, carte blanche, pun maybe intended, to start rolling that one for hopefully an attack on boss combo.
Mm-hmm.
And then if
Yeah,
you
I've
do
been
get
pretty
them.
lucky with some of the
Oh, boss has a 20
pencils.
attack as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
emblem's gonna, yeah. Yeah, because that gives you more flexibility, right? Because yeah, you want your potentials to having once you get more options on your familiars, that will give you the option to start rolling your WSE, and then depending on what you end up getting on the WSE, that'll then determine which of the familiars you end up equipping on which boss. So having 3 slots for your familiars will give you even more freedom, but of course you're going to need a bunch of cool epic cards first to be able to fill those shoes and to fill those slots.
Yeah, I feel like when I get to the point where I have like 3 good epic cards, I'll probably like double down on getting those badges going. Because then I'll feel like I have the need for it.
As soon as you hit a good drop rate one, you'll wish that you already have them though, because you'll want to keep the drop rate familiar on to get even more cards when you're training, and then if you do that, you'll be left with only 1 slot of leveling up a card at a time, and then your cards in your inventory will just keep piling up faster and faster. So you want to have 3 slots so that 1 goes for the drop familiar and the other 2 go for the level up at the same time, so you can keep churning them out.
Smart.
Yeah.
That's good. Because I do have the spider familiars from like the transition event.
Oh yeah, that's already a really good one to start with. Yeah.
But I didn't think about that. That's so I should probably get the badges going then.
Yeah, because then it's not like 3 versus 2 slots, but it's 2 versus 1 slot. So then it's literally 100% faster.
It's literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, once you get to 50 stacks of cards in your inventory, you'll wish you had those 2 slots to, and then you'll start making uniques probably, because you can't even make the epics fast enough to get through all the cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's does that figure everything out with familiars? You're acquainted with how that works on the stacking and what lines you're looking for and everything?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's more of the flexible thing. So I'd like to go over all of the more flexible ways of affecting your account, and then get to the more rigid parts, which is usually like your equips and your potentials and how they're upgraded, right? But like other things that we can freely move around. Let's see if we have those all in the right spot, and then we can get to the equips specifically. That makes sense?
That works.
So I'm gonna assume that you don't have any questions regarding V Matrix, because it seems like pretty decked out.
Yeah. My V matrix is fine. I just have to get all my skills to 25, but yeah.
Yeah, you have the important ones already, and the boost nodes are all really close or already there. Yeah, I'm not intimately familiar, but like my V Matrix has like V Matrix command is a little bit of a setup with that, but I think it kind of depends on which maps you're in and which skills you're using. That'll depend which boost nodes you're using, right, for the stolen skills to empower those.
Yeah. So if I'm using Arrow Platter, I'll probably enhance that, or if I'm using the Pathfinder one, or the Paladin Hammer, it all depends, like you said, on the map and stuff.
And eventually you use that Ice Ball from Ice Lightning, right?
Yeah, Ice Orb, I used the heck out of that in Celis.
So I'm seeing Venom Burst, Gorp Dog. Do you ever use Venom Burst?
Absolutely not. It's like a hope of mine that they change it, so I'm not like dismantling it. But
okay.
Every day that goes by, I'm like.
Yeah, there is rebalancing and stuff. Plus, this is part of the fifth. That's okay. That's actually a really good point. We haven't gone through the thieves part yet, but I hope that in some way they redo the thieves, or they think about this with the thieves revamp, that they make it so that they can use Venom Burst, that it actually becomes a usable part of their kit. Because I think right now only Cadena uses it as a debuff on the boss so they can get critical damage. And I think no one else even considers using it.
It's really bad because I know that like Dual Blades and Night Lords apply Venom, I think, or maybe just Dual Blades and Shadows. But the DPS is so bad for it that.
Yeah, it's like less than 1% of your damage. I think like 0.5% or your BA or something, and it's just waste of a slot.
It really is.
I'm pretty sure at level 285 or something, if you buy extra slots, maybe then you put. But even then, it's just an extra button to press that you don't want to have to. And pressing that button probably lowers your DPS more than just pressing an attack instead. So.
Well, I can't even use it because there's no Venom in any of my Phantom skills. But
oh yeah. Wait, it only empowers existing Venom?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh god. I thought it had like a small chance of applying when you attacked or something. Ugh.
Yeah, no, I think it consumes like the DOT or something.
Oh wow. Beautiful. Okay. Let's move away from that very quickly. And then for and then the other one is your bossing setup is way more straightforward.
Yeah, my bossing is just like the usual stuff.
Yeah. Oh, so just exclusively for mobbing that you use all the other skills, and for bossing you just use your main kit and empower that as much as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you don't need speed infusion because everything is basically a hurricane skill. Oh yeah, no, you have it in. Okay, I was like, the Goddess Blessing is down there, but you have it up there. I guess, yeah, I guess a lot of classes really like Blink for the added survivability, but I guess you don't care for that at all because you already have so much survivability in your kit, so it's just like kind of like a nuisance at this point. I guess I don't know if the Night Lord with the survivability is struggling more, but I don't know to which extent he's trying to use Blink, because if you float and use Blink, that's also a knockdown resistance, so that could also help them. I don't know if they're aware of that.
Oh, probably not.
Because it doesn't, yeah. Because they don't, I don't know if Night Lord has any knockdown resistance otherwise, right? I don't think they do. So they could use this.
I think so.
Yeah, if they jump float, then even if you get stunned in the air, you still stay floating. So that could help dodge attacks. I don't know, whatever kind of, tools you can add to their arsenal to yeah.
Pass the message.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because, I mean, if they are kind of holding themselves back, they're holding you back by default, right? I'm not trying to do a progression session for your teammates, but if this helps you get to the clears faster so you can stick with the same party and run together, that makes your life easier as well.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah, no other questions for V-Matrix, right? So Legion-wise, we talked about the cost for upgrading, and you're getting to 7K. That's nice. Do you have the mid or long-term aspirations to go to 8K?
Yeah, so in the short term I want to reach 8K. So that's a project to getting like all the 140s to like 200, at least like the 140s that like give me a lot of benefits. Because I know that you have to kind of like get most of the classes to level 200 for 8K.
Yeah, it depends on how many characters you have above. You have some 220s and like at least two 250s, so you won't need as many of them. But yeah, that's the main thing, right? Because once you're at 7K and you're trying to go from 7 to 8, you need 1,000 levels on level 140s. So that means you probably need to get like 16 level 140s to 200. That gains you 960 levels, I think. Yeah. Okay. So probably 16 or 17 of them, yeah.
Yeah. Which I was kind of like struggling with that because I'm like, they're giving out so many like mega burnators and burnators and a lot that I was thinking about just like remaking classes and just leveling them up like that, but then that would push it further down the line, the 8K.
Yeah, so I think that's fine. I think I can meet you in the middle with a compromise and just go character by character and like maybe just go on the character for a little bit and see how the playing is. If you think that the character is fine to play and that you can get to 200 and start like slowly prepping them up, there's probably a certain amount of like cubes and flames and stuff that you're getting that you can't really actively use anymore right now, that you are looking for a character to use it on. And if you start floating those onto the characters that you're going to grind on to get to 200, then by the time it's the next one's turn, they'll be significantly stronger. You can just knock out that 140 to 200 pretty quick. And if there's a character that you absolutely hate, you put that one on the side, like, okay, this is going to be Terra Burn, or this is going to be like bonked, with like level up potions or something like that. And as long as every character has kind of like its own destination, you're not necessarily waiting 2 years until you get everything, but you're like slowly working on the ones. If you see an event come out, you'll immediately know, like, okay, that's going to this character. If it's a Terra Burn, it's going to this one. If it's a Mega Burn, it's going to that one. If it's a bonk event, then these are the 3 classes I want to work on. And if nothing like that is going on and I have free time, then this is the list of like 5 to 10 characters that I'm going to grind out to 200. And that way everything has like its purpose before the event comes around, so you're like prepared for the opportunity.
Yeah, another thing to take advantage of is like the monthly rewards, like not the daily ones, where they give you like that one potion that gives you like 10 levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'll usually give that to like the one class that I hate leveling.
Yeah, that's a good idea to. As long as every character is kind of like in a category like that in your mind, then you'll be able to take opportunity of any event that comes around. But it's definitely true if you're like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for all Terra Burns, then you have to wait until like 2026 until you have that 8K. Which it definitely is more valuable than that to get it done a little bit faster because of the extra characters. And I'm not sure about the exact percentage compared to now, but you're probably going to be filling about like 30 more grid spots at least compared to where you're at now. So that is, I would say, it's definitely worth not postponing too long.
Yeah, because it's a huge increase on possible damage, like crit damage and stuff, or when I'm bossing and such.
Have you are you also in like Phantom Discord or in conversation with other Phantoms?
Yeah.
So to which extent, I don't know if you're aware of this, or to which extent this is like something for the list to look into. To which extent do Phantoms go for buff duration in the Legion grid?
I think it's, from my understanding, it's until you can have Final Cut, like 100% of the time active.
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly what we go for.
So it would depend on how good your invulnerability roll is, basically?
Yeah, that's why I have like the 20 skip, because that also gives me like the ability to kind of like double iframe if that's the case, or things. So that's right. It also gives me like the 20% chance for like the AB skill, so I can like use it twice while I'm bursting.
Oh yeah, longer terms and condition.
Yeah, so there's kind of like a debate where you can either have the 20 skip, or you can do like boss damage just for more straight up damage.
Yep. One is more RNG, other one more guaranteed damage.
I'm from the school of thought that I like the versatility of the 20 chance skip, even though, like you said, it's not reliable.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much for.
Whatever your play style allows and whatever you enjoy more, right? As long as you play around that and optimize around that, then you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So you might need a little bit of buff duration, but not as much. Well, the main reason I'm asking is, for example, like Archmages, depending on your main, some characters can say like 6k Legion or whatever, and it's not that big of a deal. If you're like an Adele or something, it's not like you're getting insanely stronger, because what are you going to put into like crit rate or IED that's already like maxed out? Like, it's not going to do as much for you. But like if you do rely on buff duration, you want to max out critical damage and boss damage, and probably ID and get into buff duration, so you're spreading yourself way thin there if you're not actually going for 8k Legion eventually. So there is scalability and upscalability for you, definitely, so there is good value in 8k Legion, I would say.
Yeah, especially because like I think my crit damage is super low for where I'm at. Like 58%, I think.
Yeah, 58 and 68 with decent sharp eyes, I think, from the screenshots.
Yeah, fully buffed it's like C8, and then normally it's like 58. I think that's with the marksman 10% crit damage bullseye shot, I think it's
okay. You use that one for your burst?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess an extra line on the gloves is like the only real extra you're gonna get. You do have that 500% final damage, so that counts for something, right?
Yeah, even though it's for like 10 seconds. Yeah, it's
the glorious 10 seconds.
It's the best 10 seconds of my life. Like a straight Chad. Yeah, it's funny because like I'll often show like my range to people and they'll be like, "Dude, you're huge, you're a Phantom," and I'm like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah, maybe lead with that when you're joining a party, but like 58 mil range Phantom, you'll be like, "Oh shit."
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, I think I have it on my hero as well, because like hero and Phantom like And I think the other Explorer Warrior is also to a large extent so much final damage, right? I think my hero in rest is like 18 mil range or something. It's like okay, and I think when I'm bursting solo with the final damage from World Reaver or something, I think I can go up to 90 mil, and it's like kind of disgusting. It's just such a. That's why whenever someone asks like, "What's your range?" I'm like, you don't realize how like completely insignificant this question is, because it's depending on like what button you press and what class you are. Like someone with 10 mil range could do more damage than someone with 90. That's even unironically true depending on the situation. So, but yeah, people who haven't played in like 10 years. Of course, there's a lot of information that has gradually built up for us. Where fifth job was introduced, and final damage changes, and like everything kind of like trickled in. So if you kept playing, it all makes sense. But if you haven't played for a while, it's like, wait, what? Especially if you look at the stat window now, like half the stats are gone that you used to rely on, right? Like where's accuracy and avoid? Where's minimal and maximum crit damage?
Where's my magic defense? Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, and then it gets me so angry when they do the class revamp now for the explorers, and they still have skills that give like a 90 defense. I'm like, please, it's 2022. Like, why are you doing this? It's
like everything either one shots you or it hits you for 1 HP.
Yeah, it's
there's
like
no in between.
Like this is relevant for like 3 seconds and then it's gone. So why, if you get the chance to redo this, what's going to be in there for the next decade, right? Like why are you doing something that's already relevant 5 years ago? Why is that still in there? Yeah. Why you don't play the Nightwalker anymore? I assume that's more relegated to a bossing mule at this point.
Yeah. I in kind of like in the school of I don't know what to main for the longest of times.
Mm-hmm.
And I always found myself coming back to both Phantom, Nightwalker, Wind Archer, and Hero.
Mm-hmm.
The Phantom and Nightwalker the most. And I feel like I love like both styles equally. There's just something about like Phantom that just I keep just coming back to it.
Mm-hmm.
My Nightwalker has far better flames than my Phantom does. I think I have like a 114 Sweetwater pendant with like 6% all stat. A 95 luck and 5% all stat.
So you can. You have to go back every now and then to honor the cup.
I have to go back to feel strong,
Yeah.
No, that's kind of like how I make my meso. It's like bossing meals. I have like a rotation of like 6 characters that I have.
Yeah, they can do a decent amount of stuff, I think, right?
Yeah, no, I make because I think versus and Maple Tour, that's like what, like 1.3 a week, like around there, or maybe less.
It depends on how much
like
Maple Tour you do. Yeah, standard Maple Tour is usually like around a bill, maybe a little bit more per week. If you do 2 runs a day.
Yeah, and then when I do like all the bossing, I think my Nightwalker and my Phantom bring around like almost 950 mil, both of them, and then the others clear like up to like CRA, Harhilla, and things of that sort. So I make like almost 4 bill a week.
Yep.
Just not too shabby.
Yeah, it adds up. You're like, oh, next event, and then it's like 3 weeks away, and then before you know it, there's another 10, another 20 bill coming out of nowhere. Like it does add up over time. Sure, when you're like sitting on 40 or 50 bill, it's like, oh, it's not going up at all. But then next time you look, it's like, oh, we're close to 60 now. Like it does. all the bits help throw together, and the more you grind, that really like I don't like training and grinding that much, but you're like, okay, this is half an hour of bossing for me on some characters is like, yeah, it's like almost a bill, right? It's like 900 mil. And then training is, but like doing a totem a lot of times is also more than a bill. And you're like, oh, actually, if I do a lot of totems, that does add up to quite a lot of money if it all adds together. Now I know why people farm, because it is a lot.
Yeah, I actually got a scare in the Phantom Discord. When I asked the EXP rates from 250 to 260, somebody told me that they were getting like 35% per totem, and I was getting like 18 to 20, and I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, that's usually the EXP. They were wrong at the end because they were giving me
per hour on a shit item, or
yeah, no, I can't remember what the specifics were, but kind of like said like 35-ish% per totem. And then he said, "Oh no, my bad. That's at like 260 or something. A different map or whatever."
Right. Higher level map, and maybe he's more farming, so he's not even using all the buffs or something because he's just trying to stay at the level. Yeah.
And I usually, when I grind, I'll grind either with like the base MVP situation, not really like using like pots and stuff, aside from like the Monster Park ones.
Okay, sure.
And yeah, like I don't mind getting the 20% XP per totem. You know, I get a load of familiars and meso and stuff, and so I can just watch shows and stuff. It's easy.
Do you use the decent holy symbol leveled over regular holy symbol because of the drop rate?
No, I usually do that because I use arrow platter.
Right, yeah, because you need the slot. Yeah, that's better value. And in the beginning, way in the beginning, you use holy symbol, right? Because it's just broken.
It's absolutely broken. Yeah.
You'd use holy symbol and the Pathfinder skills, and it's just like.
That's what I did in Celis. So I would just take off the holy symbol, and I would add something like decent sharp ice or Nova if I was feeling like extra lazy. And I would just clear with Frozen Orb and the Pathfinder skill.
Yep. Wait, Urda Nova? You mean like Urda Shower?
Airless Shower.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, you're gonna be binding and selling. That's gonna be extra lazy. That sounds like you're extra sweaty at that point. You're trying to bind individual monsters. Okay, so any other movable stuff that we need to go over? Oh yeah, you have the link skills. Did you have any questions regarding the link skills?
Not off the top of my head. I think on link skills, I have every single class aside from Kaiser, which I've been putting away because I'm just like, all right, 10% HP. I'm just, here, Lotus, hit me harder.
Yeah.
I just, but yeah, that's the only link skill that I think I'm missing. Everything else should be, I have a Paladin at level 50, so I should probably level that up as well. But aside from those two, I think on link skills it's mainly utility survivability later on. I'm guessing that as a Phantom you can afford to skip that quite a bit because of all your iframes, right? And you're gonna need all the damage you can get instead. Absolutely, yeah. The only other thing that I should probably work on is getting the Mercedes link up to level 3. But that is a work in progress. That's the character that I'm dumping the.
That's usually on the list of say no more. That's not a crowd favorite. Then again, Phantom usually isn't either, so you might have been in that same group that just loves those.
I think I just I spent my patience with classes like that. Because my Mercedes is 15 shotting and turning tower. And I'm like 20 levels ahead, and I'm like, all right, what is this? Yeah, it comes down to like doing the combos and all properly as well to optimize your DPS plus level of funding that you require. If you're not having fun though, it's very hard to be like very meticulous with the combos. You're just like, get me out. Yeah, I'm usually from school of thought of I love the classes that nobody likes. I don't know why that is, but it's just the thing. And I know that like Mercedes at 5th job, they get absolutely insane. Like their shuttle partner-ish looking skill and their burst is nutty. They do like bill in the first like 5 seconds with a burst or something.
I like the 5th job definitely helped me get from 200 to 210. I was not liking it at all to 200, but of course not playing the character as well as it could be played, definitely.
Yeah, right.
But like the bump from 5th job was you get to ride around on a freaking unicorn, like this is some cool shit. You just dash through the monsters while you're riding a unicorn. I could do this for 10 levels, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, Legion and Links, it's going to be connected together and slowly going to work your way up to 8k, and then the level 3 Links and the double S tier souls and all that stuff is going to come in, right?
I tried opening some souls in this event, and of course the only magnificence that I get are Blood and Sickle.
Yeah, oh yeah, lovely, yeah. My event like that yesterday went exactly like that, yeah. on my character with the most opportunities. I think I made two. I made was it like back to back Magnificent Hilla or something, and then a Magnificent Zakum and a Von Bon, and I think that was it. And then none of the double S tier souls got Magnificent. Yeah.
Well, in hindsight, I got a nutty 4% boss damage increase.
Crazy.
From my HP.
You're broken.
So, yeah.
Nerf this. Nerf Phantom.
Nerf
Phantom. Okay. I guess we can look at the backups and everything now. If you're okay with moving up.
Absolutely.
So. You did mention 22. Would you be okay with just like staying 21 and getting eliminated of most of the risk, and then seeing where you're at after that, and then eventually after that tapping up to 22, or do you have like this any drive to hit 22?
No, I really don't. It's mostly because since that's a stage in the game where I don't know how much damage you need and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like new grounds for me. I assume that 22 star is what most people are looking for or requiring to get into a party. I don't know if 21 star Zero Golux and Sweetwater plus like a 17 star Arcane is enough to put me in a Black Mage contention spot. I just don't know, but I would definitely, obviously, because I don't grind as often, 21 star for me would be a good place to settle.
Yeah, I mean, no one is going to ever say like, oh, your CRA is not 22, you can't join the party, but there's going to be like a stat requirement in general. Because like the higher your stat goes, the better of a predictor it becomes for how much damage you do. But it's mainly going to be, because now you know like your BA for Hard Lucid and stuff. After that, it's mainly just going to be relegated to stat, honestly, and having enough arcane power. But as long as you keep building that up, you should be fine. And then when it gets to Black Mage, usually you do another BA, but like on a dummy for like a full burst rotation, where you use like your biggest burst one time and wait until it like comes back. It kind of depends on your party setup. You usually go for a full like a domain rotation, so whether you domain every 3 minutes or every 4 minutes, depending on your party setup. Do like a 3 minute or a 4 minute setup, and then see how much damage per second you do in a full duration, and then typically you want to be at 60 billion per second for that whole duration. So if a few people in your party member are doing more, and then you're doing a little bit less, and then you're bringing some like the 10% final damage to the party with the heal and maybe some other stuff that I don't know about, but maybe the Phantom Discord can give you some tips on like, hey, these are the things you need to say to to get your way into parties, because I assume this is like a Phantom central problem that you guys have probably found some solutions to. That's like the goal then, but yeah, until then it's basically going to come down to stats. So I'm assuming that if you want to get into Tenebra's bosses and stuff, you want to start getting north of 40k.
That's for like Vihila, right? Like the 40k stat window is where you want to be.
Yeah, and you probably pretty much want the whole party to be there. So if you're more going to be in there as a DPS, then you might even want to be a little bit higher than that, like 41, 42, 43. But if the whole party's at that point, then it should be pretty smooth runs. And in my experience, I'm not great at like the more difficult bosses, but I found Varishila easier to learn than Hardwell, for example. Like you got into that much faster, because usually by that time you have all the healing familiars, and that just allows you to bypass a whole lot of the mechanics. So as long as you're not an absolute clown and jump into every single thread, which that's pretty much the first 2 runs, but like the third run and above, you start dodging way better and positioning way better, and then after that it's basically just a hit it a bunch of times during the burst, and you can be a little bit more careful and just like hide in the corners and hide from the opposite side of the map and just hide from her and try to dodge. And then as soon as someone gets hit more than the other people, you start taking stacks, and then you cleanse, and then you play it safe until the next screen crack, and then you just burst again in the screen crack, and then you just do as many bursts as you need, and then you destroy the boss. And it sounds very simple, but it becomes that simple basically. But yeah, the more damage you have, the fewer bursts you have to do, so the fewer chances that some people get unlucky and get hit and lose some lives. But you'll have some people dying out, but it's not a huge deal, right? Source of Suffering is 1 in a bajillion drop chance. And Varishila drops plenty of those items to turn into keys. That's not the problem. The problem is running Gloom and Dark Knell. as soon as possible, so that you can start getting the sparks there.
I've been trying to like get into End Gloom, but
Mhm.
I constantly hear this like backslap of it's useless, like it's a waste of time. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
accurate or not.
If you find people who are actively doing Black Mage, they're probably running normal Gloom. Like they're either in a Chaos Gloom party if they're really going to try hard for the ring, or they're just running normal Gloom at whatever time, and they run in a few minutes just to get the sparks. Because there's not a huge difference getting the sparks from normal versions and from the hard versions. And if you are okay with like not dealing with all of the setup for the hard bosses, people run normal very quickly, and they're usually fine with you tagging along. If you know someone maybe in the guild. But ideally in the future, you know, you'll take one of their characters, they take one of you, because the sparks are tradable, and then you can get more Black Mage keys out of that. But that's definitely one thing I did, is I didn't do Gloom and Darknail very much. And then in hindsight, you know, if you do want to get enough keys and everything, it's okay to start doing it ASAP. But then again, you know, if by the time you get the Black Mage or something, you have the practice mode, the practice mode doesn't require the keys, so that should also kind of lower the burden of needing a whole bunch of keys.
That gave me a little bit of a cushion there.
Yep. So how many total droplets are you working with here? Because that's the main thing, right? It's like, when do we move into Arcanes, and how hard do we do this?
Yeah. I think it's
I scrolled past it. Oh, here. 403. Well, yeah, 400-ish lucid ones, and then 275. So we're looking at 675. So that's enough for a full set, right?
Yeah, like right now, like you said earlier, I can get like 3,
648.
2,
Yeah.
depending on like what I buy.
You can get a weapon or a weapon and one item, and then you have 3 set.
Right. Yeah, and since I already have
the
cape, I can maybe get like, yeah, I don't. That's like the thing that's haunting me the most, is what to do. Because in reality, I was waiting to just have the coins and the droplets to buy everything at once, so I don't have to go with, oh, I got this drop or I got that drop.
Yeah.
But with all the events coming up and everything, I'm like, should I maybe look into buying a weapon, and then I can just ignore the fact that if next week I get a weapon drop, I'll be like, oh, it was a waste. Or I can just be like, all right, in the long term, this will be a backup or something.
Yeah, that's basically it. And I had like, I think one session where we basically took a whole hour running through all the possible scenarios of what happens if you do this and what if that happens. There's no good solution, right? Because there is just the RNG that you cannot control there. I think he ended up holding off on the weapon and then ended up getting the weapon drop like 2 weeks later, so it ended up working out for him. But if he had gone for the weapon and he got the weapon drop, then you have like you said, you have a backup, and then you can go up to 19 realistically. 19 is like, you know, there's always a chance to boom, but 19 is realistically very possible even without a boom, or on just one boom. But then of course you need a second backup if one booms before you go past 17 again. But if you get like 19 Arcane and most of the others, like at least CRA 21 and all the other accessories at 20 or 21, and then possibly push the CRA to 22, that'll get you very far, like at least for most classes. But I don't know, as long as you play the Phantom well, that should be enough to get you into like the Chaos, Tenebrous bosses, whereas hell up, possibly towards Black Mage and all that. So that is where you eventually want to be at. How to go there? Yeah, there's no like one. I could tell you one way, and then the other thing could happen. I could tell you the other way, and then the one thing could happen. The main thing is that the 2 changes that we're still waiting for is the change to the box dropping from the bosses, where you get to pick which drop you want. Like there's be an armor or a weapon box, and then if the armor box drops, you can pick which armor you want from the boss, which I mean only makes which would be great for hard will, right? So you don't accidentally get any hats or overalls. And then for Lucid, it makes it so that you can pick something else besides the cape. But it feels like you're close to the full switch in the sense, droplets, so you just need the boss clears. But it also means that you can start looking pretty soon, you need the money and everything, but pretty soon you can start looking to pushing it to 19, because I'm sure you'll want to feel more useful and feel like you can, hey, this is my BA, this is a bigger number, please take me in the party, like stop being racist against phantoms, like
stop the phantom racism.
Yeah, racist phantom lives matter too. So that's gonna. Oh wait, I counted the 37 as will droplets. I just realized, but it's not a huge difference. That means they're still pretty much there, right? You want 648, I believe. So you're 5, 6.
Or like the 4th set or 5th.
If you want to buy the whole one, but you already have the cape, so
Ah.
for 5 set, yeah. So you need to buy 4 pieces, but they count for 5 because the weapon counts double. So basically 108 times 5, so 540.
The weapon counts double.
Well, it's double the price, right? So for
For
the maths,
for the set. Okay.
Yeah, for the no, that's in that weird Japanese set, right? The Sengoku set. The weapon counts for 2 slots. Yeah. No, like for the maths, I just do times the amount of items plus 1 if the weapon is included, because then you don't have to do the separate maths. Yeah. Honestly, I usually say this to everyone. It's very normal to kind of feel like paralyzed by the possibilities, but I've never really found anyone to make the weapon and feel bad about that choice afterwards. Everyone that I've known that has gone for the weapon, and since you are so far ahead in lucid drops compared to the will drops, I don't think it makes sense to wait until you can get like 37 will drops from now, because that's going to be at least 14 weeks of clearing, right? 13 weeks of clearing from now. Before you buy it with those droplets, and you'll have to exchange your droplets anyway, most likely. Yeah, I'm not going to make a decision over your droplets. Ultimately, it's your decision, but I've known very few people who regretted buying the weapon. It's just such a huge increase.
Yes.
And for most people, it's like an increase of like 25% in their BA at least, just because of how broken the base attack on the Arcane is.
On the Arcane is, yeah, and even if I do chase or look into buying the weapon, I was gonna ask, because I'll lose like the 5th item from Abso. Would that even be worth, like losing that 30% boss damage? Would that even be worth, or should I look, even if I like do that transition and I go tree set right now, would that be okay or nah?
So that pretty much always that's worth, yeah, because the damage of the arcane weapon is going to be so much better. The thing is, the thing that I look at is how long are you going to lose that, and that will determine for me if it's worth it or not. You seem to be pretty close to already getting more pieces and the 3 sets soon and all of that, so you're going to be trying to move into as many Abso pieces as possible, to as many arcane pieces as possible already, and you already have one, so the weapon is going to be the second one, so you're going to be 3 set pretty soon. If you buy one or the other, and the set bonuses is another thing that we are waiting on, where the boss damage for the Abso pieces is going to be redistributed, that it's not all in the 5 set, but it's going to be more spread over the sets. Yeah, so that's
I watched your video.
So that's also going to make it less important to really move into the hat. So I think you can safely just completely ignore that and fully invest towards getting the CRA to 21 and get it and start moving into the arcanes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to focus on, the 5, 10, 15, just tapping the CRAs. I got the I got the shirt to 20, so I'll probably try to get the hat and the pants to 20 as well. On this event, and I was thinking on using the scrolls, the 17 scrolls, the 17 star scrolls on the arcanes. Is that even possible?
No, usually it only works up until level 160, so you might want to double check, but I'm like 99% sure it only works up to on equips up to level 160.
Oh yeah.
So you have to plan for something else. I don't know if there is what rings are you using right now? What is your 4th ring? Is it a hybrid ring that you're using? Like a drop ring?
It should be on the 2nd page. Yeah. I use the chaos ring as a 4th ring.
Oh wait, where's that? I might be blind. Where's the chaos ring?
Oh no, it's just not in the picture. Rip. forgot to include it.
Did it get lost? Oh, okay, okay. Is it, what is it, like 2 lines luck?
Yeah, it's 21% luck, and then I got it to +3 in luck and +4 in attack power.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess that,
decent.
yeah, no, that's pretty decent. And what's your, looking at the backups, what's your situation on weapon backups? Sorry, equipment backups, I mean, specifically.
So I completely disregarded the APSO backups, like doing like the weeklies and stuff.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Mainly because I always had the goal of moving into Arcanes, like never pursuing anything higher than like 17 star on APSO.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah, so my situation with like my backups and stuff, for CRA I have like 500 plus pieces for CRA, so I'm totally fine there. And then for like superior gear and things of that sort, I have 3 backups, like in terms of coins, and then I have 3 reinforced earrings, which I'm thinking about just getting them to 21 and then just transferring over, even though I will lose the potential.
Yeah, it's only 21, so that's a good price to pay for sure.
Especially like on an accessory, which is kind of like EC and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And just tearing up is a small, it's just a speeding ticket on the way there. A
small price to pay for
sure. Yeah. If it was like a I don't know, like a 33% or something, then you might consider holding off, but then it would just become a lower priority and you'd wait for superior backups from the drop, right?
Exactly. So, yeah. And then in terms of like Dineros and Commercy, I'm working towards the last ship right now. So I can actually grind all the Dineros.
Okay. Yeah, so those are going to be a lower priority. Yeah, but you have the Arcane to move into, you have the CRA for now. That's plenty.
So those can take,
How are you on Dominators and kind of Treasure Rings?
So my luck on those, it's pretty bad. I only have 1 kind of Treasure Ring, as well as 1 Dominator Pendant. The flame on the Dominator Pendant, I'm still not happy enough with it. Probably because of all of my Nightwalker has.
Okay, yeah, high standard.
Yeah, so now I'm like, I don't really know if I want to move into it because I think
that's like
one mine
bare minimum. Yeah, if the magic attack was attack, then I would say go for it. But yeah,
because I think what I rolled in my Nightwalker was like 80 something and like 6%. So I'm like, yeah, until I get that, I'm not.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly aim that high because that is quite. Have you looked at the calculator to see what is realistic?
No, not recently.
Cause armor with powerfuls 140. What was the other one? 86 and 9.
86.
I said 80, 84 and 6 or something. What did you say? Sorry, not 9.
Yeah,
9 all-stat is very hard to get.
Yeah, no, 84 and 6.
Yeah, so it's like equivalent of 320. Well, it's probably like somewhere around 400 bill value. So that's maybe not a realistic goal to aim for.
Yeah, I guess that puts it into perspective.
Yeah, so a lot of people aim for like 115-ish or something. This looks like something between median cost is 6 bill, 8.6 for average. That's usually something that people aim more for. But if you want to go from 115 to 120, just 5 extra, then you're already like doubling the cost there. So I would keep that more in mind rather than your one character getting super lucky, because that can really have you just chasing windmills for the rest of your life, potentially. You don't want to jump half a trill into a flame. That'll definitely hurt your entire account way more, right? How many hours on the Kana is that? Probably around 500, I guess, if they make like a bill an hour.
Yeah, and I don't even have a Kana because I'm from the gang of hating Kana.
Yeah, so that'll hurt you.
Yeah. But what's like a solid flame? I always struggle with the idea of like what's a good flame to settle for, depending on what stage of the game you're on. I think you have resource for that, right?
Yeah. So if you check the flames and then you go for the cost calculator, usually I tell people like anywhere from 105 to 115 is a good flame to aim for transposing, because I think 105, like, and that's what this one is. I think that's and you'll probably agree, that's a reasonable flame to aim for if you're not like super sweaty and you're not trying to like, you know, you're okay with not having the best of everything, and you'll make it up in other ways. But with this cost for like the 115, right? That's not like an insanely prohibitive cost. So like 115 feels like a more decent spot to stop at if you are trying to push forward. But some people will aim for 120, 125 or something. But the cost does get progressively very, very much higher. So like 115 to 120 is usually like a good point if you want to go further. And then how you get that exactly, you know, it's kind of up to you. But you want to select endgame here and then select regular luck character, right? And it'll probably be something like a what is it, 68 and 6 or something? Yeah, it's like around 122. So like a 64 and 6 is usually what a lot of 64 and 6, 68 and 6 is what a lot of people will try to aim for, to be like in between that 115 and that 120 in general.
Okay.
Yeah, if you had like 48 and then like some weapon attack or something, that can get you kind of close, like a 148 and 6 and 6, but the 6 attack tends to drop in scaling, also that tends to increase in scaling. So even though the 48 usually looks horrible, the attack can kind of save that. So like around there is typically the results that people are looking for. If you select late game here, it'll probably be a little bit higher, right? Because the attack will scale better here. But it's best to have it set to end game to be absolutely sure what you got.
Yeah. Okay. I probably should start using that even if I'm moving into Arcanes to kind of like see, alright, this should be a good flame to settle for. Giving like the Vihila goals that I want to achieve.
Yeah, and you can check the progression grid to see the flame scores that you're aiming for, right?
Yeah.
And the I guess the other thing, with the Kana treasure rings, how, because I don't see pictures from that, like how much drop rate do you have? Do you have like the full?
Yeah, the gear should be there, but I think if I equipped everything, posting in, counting my familiars, I'm like 140-ish around there.
The familiar is 60, right? So that's 4 line. Yeah. No, so that's the regular 5 and 4, right? 5 meso, 4 drop, and then 4 drop for 80, and then with the familiar that gives you 60 to 140.
Yeah, because I know that some people, they reach like 100%.
Yeah, I think I'm close to 400 on my arc where I'm completely decked out. I think I'm at like 389, but that's basically, yeah, the only thing I can add there is, because I also have Inner-ability, right? Inner-ability, 10 lines equips, large item drop rate, plus drop coupon, you know. The only thing I can add there really is slightly better Inner-ability and a wealth acquisition potion, and that's pretty much it. So that's, you know, the ultimate, but it is probably... Do you have accessories left that are like unique or legendary from before that kind of can be repurposed?
Yeah, so like I have like the Glory Guard ring, which is unique at the moment, which I'm not using for absolutely anything. As well as the Kana stretch ring, but I know that ring, some people use it for like transposing like the stars and things of that sort of nature.
Yeah, transfer hammering into superior, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was also saving up like the Sakum ones, even though I know it's not like ideal. My plan was to either work on the Sakum like eye and face accessory and get those as drop rate gear, or once I get like enough like flow of Denaros into my account, I can start getting, you know, some 17-star like goggles and like the tattoos and put them as drop rate gear as well. It's kind of like where my mind was going, but I don't know if like people usually roll for like 2 lines of drop on 1 gear. I know that's usually like
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully you luck into a few of those when you're like, if you're making like the full set of drop and mezzo and maybe specific drop and then also damage gear. Hopefully you, because you use so many red cubes in that whole process, right? Hopefully you get like 1 or 2 items that do get a double line, and then you basically make the rest of the pieces around those that have double lines. You center around those because those are more valuable, of course. Some people who have a farmer will just, you know, full black cube because then on average it's cheaper, and they'll just specifically black cube for double lines and stuff. Also specifically if you're trying to make like mezzo gear for Cernium, because you want to get all of your mezzo on just 3 items, right? 2 double items and then 1 with hopefully 2 lines of stat and mezzo, and the rest damage gear, so you can actually train in Cernium and get max mezzo obtain. And then with the spider you can use the drop rate, the mezzo drop rate from the spider to get to 100% chance for a bag. To optimize your mezzo and your experience if you want to train there. But I think the main thing, and because of their dineros, it's probably going to be best for you. And you have the arcane stuff and the CRA to worry about, right? That's going to probably keep you busy for this 5.10.15 and the next one, right? And in the meantime, you need more backups. So I think in the meantime, it's probably going to be a good idea to start cubing and to start maybe working on... well, one thing I would probably do is work on a kind of treasuring that you have, and possibly for Star Force and get that one to 17 to start replacing the Chaos Ring, so the Chaos Ring can be rerolled for extra drop. So you can start working on a set with more drop when you're bossing, because you're going to need to increase the amount of Dominators and kind of treasure rings you get into the future. Otherwise, it's going to take too long to build backups for those. Because right now those are already kind of slowed down, not to like, you know, make you feel bad, but just to position them. Typically you have them a little bit before the dineros, but since you're working on your boat, and I think your boat is going to be maxed out soon, the upgrading of the Sweetwater stuff is probably going to happen before you're going to get to fully flushing out your positions for your rings. Because like you said, you want to get a high star kind of treasure ring, and then you want to get another one transferred into the Superior Golix ring. If that can't happen, then you might want to go into Meisters, but I think I saw you have like 3 or 4 primals, right?
Yeah, I have a couple of primals that I...
Yeah. So there is some space there, but again, because you're working on CRA and on Arcane, like there's no need to get into that yet. But if you don't have to get into those and you could use kind of treasures, that's preferable, because then you can just use the Meisters on another character that maybe doesn't have the drop rate, and then basically you can use them as like transferable rings almost, right? So that way you can get more value for your account, and since you do play other characters in your account, you know, eyes to the future, maybe some kind of revamp makes a class like really, really cool, and you do want to get more serious with the other character, then not having built up like 300 kind of treasure rings on that character can end up not being that bad, because maybe by then you can make like 10 Meisters, and then you can just guarantee your upgrade that way, and then you can just exchange because you don't have the drop rate invested in that character. But I would invest the drop rate in this one for multiple reasons, right? You want to get soul shards, you want to get more flames, more cubes, more boss equips dropping, all of that stuff, and all of the pieces that you start replacing with damage gear and that get more damage, like the Chaos Ring, and possibly, well, that's the main piece, I guess. Maybe, what are you using for pendants right now? You're using the Dominator and the Superior?
The Dominator, the Superior, as well as the Greed pendant for like Meso obtain and stuff.
I think it's probably fine to repurpose your Dominator pendant right now to get it to Legendary and to start rolling for whatever you get. If it becomes drop or mezzo, that's fine, but try to get at least 1 line of luck on it, and start flaming on a new Dominator to try to get that one for transposing, because this one is, I think, too good right now to lose in your current setup, and you want to keep this as your damage setup, right?
Yeah.
So, and since every flame is like a 99% chance of reducing this one anyway, you might as well just start working on another Dominator. You have at least 1 Dominator, right?
That's the one Dominator.
Oh, that's the 1 Dominator. Yeah, so like normal arc daily is going to be very important, and working on the drop rate, and like I said, like possibly using make sure you have the spider out, and then you have the I would use like a 10-minute drop rate coupon from the Legion store, and then do like a normal arc, normal Magnus, and normal Queen and normal Vellum to get those soul shards as well for the long term, so that you can get a really nice soul on the weapon.
Yeah, right. Better than 4% boss damage.
Yeah, you want to get the 3% attack, or yeah, I think the crit rate is probably kind of lost on you because of your own link skill, right? But that might also give you way more wiggle room and more value in your hyperstats and Legion grid, though. So that's still not necessarily bad. The ID is not really necessary, but like 7 boss or 3% attack would be what you're looking for there.
Absolutely. I have a question though. When going into Serenium, that's what level? Like 260, 265?
260 for regular Cernium as entry, but very few people actually go there right at 260 because of the Sacred Power requirement. You usually need quite a while, or at least like those first 5 levels, to build up Sacred Power so you can start taking not as much of a beating and actually dealing your damage to those monsters, yeah.
Okay, so then I should probably look into double lining the drop in Meso once I reach 260.
Yeah, that might be like the step after that. So I think the main step now, well, Star Forcing, we talked about this. The other thing will be if you're looking at your monocle and your tattoo, those are definitely items where the potentials, you want to push them first out of pretty much all the other stuff, right? Because the solid Golux ring is probably going to get replaced at some point, right? Either by Meister, by Slime Ring, or by kind of Treasure. And then the Chaos is going to get replaced by one of those other ones of the 3. The Reinforced is okay potential already, so we're not pushing that. And then this Superior Golux ring is going to get transferred into, so we're not working on that potential either. All the Abzo is going to get replaced with Arcanes. All the CRA stuff has shit potential either way, and your pants are already done. So there's not much to push on the potential there. Like the belt and the earring are also going to get transferred into, so you don't want to push that potential either. So the only potential to work on would be to go for the Fairy Heart and to work on that potential, and to work on the Ghost Ship Exorcist potential, and then right after that you have your tattoo and your monocle basically. And then there, I wouldn't push. Well, first of all, we're not pushing on the Star Force there, right? Because you don't have the backups at this point. But I wouldn't push on the Star Force yet, because it is going to be possible that you end up rolling like drop rate and 2-line stat, or like drop rate and meso and whatever 3rd line, or 2-line meso and whatever. And then if that happens, then you just completely repurpose that piece and you make a new one.
Make a new one for damage.
Yeah, and then if the other one somehow rolls even more or better drop than the ones that you have, then you just switch their function. And you basically let the potential decide what function the piece will get. And then the one that gets the function of the roll of damage, then that one you push on the Star Force once you have backups. And once a 5, 10, 15 comes around, and once you're done with CRA and Arcane.
Right. And so for this 5, 10, 15, just look into 20 starring the CRA, right? That should be like the main goal, and getting that kind of treasure ring up there.
Kind of treasure ring, and then I'd probably buy the weapon and try to get the weapon to 17, so you can get that solidly started. And then the CRA, yeah, those are like the 3 things I would work on for the upcoming one.
Okay. Very sweet. And then you wouldn't recommend me using like the scroll, right? On like any other, like, because I have like a hero that I wanted to like also make as a bossing mule.
Okay.
Do you recommend doing the 17-star scrolls on those characters, or just like, naturally?
Well, I mean, it'll save money, right? Oh, you mean like buying it from the shop specifically to do it?
Yeah. Because there's 2. Like, there's the one that you get from like the battle pass thingy, and then there's also the 1.5 bill.
Yeah, so the Battle Pass one, you just want to use on the highest level item that you're going to get to 17 on anyway, so that's usually an Abzo piece or a Sweetwater piece. Probably on a side character, like on this one, it's not really as relevant anymore. Unless, you were like 2 months or like a month or 2 further, and you were going into like another tattoo or another monocle, you could slap it on immediately, right? That would be good timing, but... I mean, you still have another month to pick that up, right? So you could wait for that, or you could use it on the hero. Maybe, I don't know if you're getting an Absolute weapon on there.
Yeah, I'm doing the transition from one-handed to two-handed.
Yeah, then that could be a good piece to use it on if you get the scroll. The buying scroll, if you have like the money and there's no events around or whatsoever, you could just slam the scroll on. It just gets things done quicker. It's like cleaner. But cost-wise, it's still a bit more expensive. If you're going to be safeguarding, like an Abzo or something, I don't know, there's a 30% off coming. You could be getting some 150 stuff, right? During the 30% off, I get it to 15, sit on it, wait for 5, 10, 15, bump to 16, transfer, bump to 16, Star Force, safeguard to 17, that kind of thing. Depending on how patient you are in getting like the Abzo gear on the side character, I would say.
Okay.
So yeah, depending on how far you get by the end of the event, I think it would be okay to not buy it or okay to buy it depending on Starforce events. Yeah. When's next 30% off? I think it's 4 weeks from now, 4 weekends from now, I think. But check exclamation mark events to be sure on the Sunny Sundays. Yeah, so it's good to start thinking about the longer term with building up the backups. So the extra set of drop rate is probably what I would focus on right after the 5, 10, 15, and possibly skip the 30% off for your main if necessary, so that you don't have to slow down working on the. You probably want to work on like 8 or 9 or 10, whatever, how many total pieces of drop rate, so that you can maximize out the equipment drop rate that maxes out at 10. And then hopefully you get the large item drop rate by then as well. So those two things will combine into, and then using more strategically the Legion drop coupons, and then all of that up will add together quite strongly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then after the extra drop rate set, or when that's like nearing its end, it's probably going to be working on that secondary, right? Well, probably the weapon first, right? Because you want to settle into the potential and into the flame there. But then right after that, the secondary, to see if you could, because you can get out of that IED, especially because the arcane weapon also comes with 20% innate IED versus the 10% of the Abzo, so that also gives you a little bit more IED there.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, in terms of like flames, do you think I'm like at a decent spot? The flames that like you're able to like just skim through, or do you think like some of them might need? I know that we talked about Abso being removed, but when it comes to like the CRA gear, what's your take on the flames?
Well, I mean, the general strokes is just if you're unsure, you can throw it into the calculator and compare it to the progression grid numbers, right? But they're not bad. They're probably, it depends on like your entire accounts and everything, but they're like definitely within the margins of what I say would be good at this stage.
Okay.
And because flames are such a side thing to upgrade on, because Starforce events kind of just like dictate when you spend your money and what you spend it on for the longest time. Flames is usually something I worry about once stuff is not really actively being worked on and you don't really have like a huge expenditure in the future that you're actively saving for. Then you can start min-maxing on your flames. But like I said,
not worry about it right now.
Yeah, no, they're good enough to just keep you over, and you have the arcanes coming, and that's where you want to go harder on flames. And you have all the star forcing that needs to be done, and then the accessories to work on. So there's plenty of things already lined up that will need your money more, so that flames is not something to worry about at all. I guess if you have spare flames and you don't actively have something else that you can flame, because you're not going into arcanes like by next week or something. Maybe the shoe could be a little bit better. That one's probably on the lower end. But other than that, I don't see anything that's like glaringly horrible. Everything else seems pretty decent. So it's mainly going to be once you get your arcane weapon, you're going to aim very high for that, and rightfully so, because that's going to have the potential for a great increase, like a tier 6 attack plus hopefully tier 6 attack to your 5 boss. That's like a really good early flame to go for. If you're finding yourself unlucky, just tier 6 with anything is probably a good settle early on, just to not go broke on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you have potential in 17. The arcane is an expense post that needs to be respected.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Because I always hear like the star forcing costs for arcanes, how like expensive they can be, and I'm just like, alright, God, please.
Yeah.
Not just spend all my meso star forcing arcanes.
Yeah, a little bit of luck versus a little bit of bad luck can mean the difference between like spending 1.5 or 4.5. Very, very easily you can sway like 2-3 bill one way or the other, even at only up to 17. Yeah.
And you wouldn't recommend yellowing it, right? Just like, I'll probably safeguard.
Always safeguard, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's just I mean, and this goes for like all gambling, and this goes for all things that you upgrade ever in life, and just all gambling outside of Maple as well. If you would feel worse losing what you don't have to, then how bad you would feel just paying the extra for the insurance, then always pay the insurance. Because you don't want to put yourself into... Yeah, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you end up getting mad at yourself for something that happened out of your control. Because that just mind fucks you. Yeah. It's like, oh, I had the chance, I should have done it. Like, and that's usually really hard to let go. So if you want to, yeah, you want to consciously make that decision. You're like, okay, I'm okay with taking this chance. And then if it goes wrong, you're like, okay, well, I was okay with taking the chance. It was bad luck, but you know, I have to deal with it because I was okay with it. But if there's even a shred of you that's like, I'm not going to be okay with this. This is going to be horrible. Then just don't do it. Then just don't risk it. And if you can afford it, then just do it later.
I was thinking on safeguarding because I'm like, if this booms, my life is over.
Yeah, it's yeah. Well, it wouldn't be over, but it would feel like it was over for at least like a few weeks. Yeah, so you don't want to put yourself through that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, don't forget the fairy heart. I guess I would definitely buy that one. That's like a bunch
Even
of.
If we... Okay, because I was.
Yeah, because Wondroid and everything. I don't know. I don't know if your other characters all have Wondroid hearts, but there's probably a bunch of others you would want to get it on anyway.
Mm-hmm. My Nightwalker has the Wondroid heart.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know, your Kane, Wind Archer, Hero, I don't know if they all want to get hearts as well.
Yeah, I was thinking on once the Wondroid event comes, I was going to grind it for 5 or 6 of those characters,
Yeah, that comes down again to like what piece of Arcane do you buy, right? I would honestly, I would advise to buy it just to not risk it. Just as you would advise people to do the quest for the potential badges, right? Because you know, like, why risk if it's not coming back, or why risk if it's going to be removed at some point? Like, they seem to be pieces that are somewhat, and you know, Wondroid doesn't exist in KMS, right? So you never know when non-KMS stuff might just, you know, poof and never come back. So yeah, I wouldn't count on it, because for a while we were counting on the Dark Lords of Darkness totems always coming back every year, right? And then, you know, suddenly it just stops coming back, and then it's like, oh shit, well now we miss it, you know. And then and then again you start kicking yourself in the head for like, oh, why didn't I just do it when it was there, you know?
Yeah, luckily my Phantom has them, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't want a repeat of that. So I would just buy it. And then in the grand scheme of things, again, like the 2 bill, yeah, and you lose some stat, and the 2 bill, I don't know, if maybe by the time you haven't perfectly 3-lined it yet, and it does come out, and you're like, I'm okay with doing it again and getting the extra stats from the Wondroid and whatever. That's still, again, then that's just like the insurance you paid for in case it didn't come up. And then in the grand scheme of things, of the trillion that you're probably going to spend on your account at some point, 2 bill is nothing.
2 bill is nothing.
Yeah. So that's just how you want to look at it. I would say pay the insurance and at least have that as a backup.
Because the 3% lines are not doing me any justice.
No. And it's just a waste of money to get it to legendary, so
it is.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I got it up to like unique with like the Master Craftsman and wrenches.
Yeah, perfect potential Lydium Heart is the same stat as just 1 line prime on the other one. It's just silly.
It's nasty.
Yeah, and then, you know, by the time next 5, 10, 15 rolls around, you just check where do you have the backups, right? What's the next move? So it's probably going to be Sweetwater at the next one, or more Arcanes, you know, if you're switching into the full set by then. And then if there's a 30% off and you have money and there's no 5 to 15 in sight, and you don't have enough Dineros yet, and you don't have enough rings and that kind of stuff, you can look at the reinforced earrings and look at the level 140 belts at that point, because then those are going to be good switches. And then by then, you know, you have enough Golux coins to try the 20 to 21 tap. Maybe you'll even get a ring or a belt backup by then. That would be even better, right? Then you don't even have to risk your coins, and then you can keep your coins for reinforced backup or for superior backup into a slime ring if you get one of those, right? Because you'll have to try to get a 21 kind of treasure into a 20 Golux, tap that back into the slime, and then tap the slime again if you want to get a 20. You know, that's a whole lot of, you know, so you want to make sure that there's nothing else that's less risky that you can work on before then. But But I guess as long as every single piece kind of feels like you know where that piece is going and where it's kind of structured with the other ones. Again, like the RNG will determine it to a great extent for you. If you see yourself having like 17 reinforced earrings and nothing else, well, guess what? We're going to work on a 21 star reinforced earring. Maybe even a 22 if you don't want to risk the coins or something, if you have so many. Like if the very first one gets to 21, maybe you just try to go for 22, you know? But if you blow up 12 of them before you see 20 the first time, you're like, okay, we're not tempting fate here. We're transferring ASAP, yeah. So that's all a case by case, of course. But I think most of that is starting to become more clear, right? Because now, I guess before the session it was kind of like a blob of everything is possible, but hopefully you'll see a bit more of the structure in where you invest your money.
Yeah, that's the thing that was haunting me the most, because like now I'm moving into like a of the game where I've never been on, and I'm like, I make this amount of money, which is in hindsight nothing compared to the people that like SO farm and stuff. So I want to be efficient with where I'm putting my resources towards.
Yeah, and one big one substantial mistake there could set you back weeks or months, possibly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It gets really it gets really a predicament if you're like, oh, and then the hindsight of like, oh, you should have done this is it falls like
I won't be able to sleep.
No, that would be bad. Yeah. So I guess go through all the pieces and see if there's any pieces where you're like you're not sure yet what to do there, but because I think we went through most of the pieces, but let me know if there's still like a piece of equipment where you feel a little unsure.
No, well, 3-lining most of my gear, that should be something that I look for, probably like more towards like the late game, end game, right? Not like necessarily right now where I'm looking into, because I've always thought that it's better to 21 or 22 star before you 3-line. I don't know if that idea is mistaken.
Yeah, pretty much. The only exception would be, like, let's say that you could just keep getting super unlucky with a piece and you're just stuck on 17, and you just have to wait for backups because you're just time gated. Like, let's say the Kana Treasure just doesn't want to play along. Like, everything else is done. Everything else is 20 and 21, and your Arcanes are even like 18, and you're thinking about 19 next event, and you just have like no Kana Treasure ring backups. I mean, then you can start working on the Star Force, on the potential, because it's gonna stay the same piece anyway. So. And you're just going to transfer the trace, right? So you might as well be working on the potential at that point, because then at least you have something to spend on. In the olden days, you definitely have people, and I'm talking about like Kana, like bye-bye Kana farming times. You'll have people who are just unironically 2.5, 3 lines on everything before they even think about going past 17 stars, because that made sense back then, because they weren't playing the stage of the game where they got those backups, so they would proportionally spend way more on potential. But if you're more organically progressing through the game like you are, star forcing way past. And I would say unironically to people, like, if your CRA is legendary before it's 21 star, then I think that's inefficient. I would go for 21 star CRA before you make it legendary, honestly, because the potential is just so garbage, but you have way more backups to warrant going for 21 way faster, typically.
Right, which makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
But, if you have a Kana farmer and you've got like 80 bill lying around and your character barely has like a second set of backups by the time you're like 250 because you're just grinding out the ass, then yeah, you go on the potential harder and you do work on legendary. But, that's not necessarily like an inorganic way of playing the game, but that's just the balance is different there, because the resources towards backups ratio is just the other way around.
Right. And for transposing, because I already have Populatus marked.
Okay, nice.
When should I look into transposing? Should I do that while I'm working for my 21 or 20 star CRA while 17 star Arcane, or should I do that as something like in the later? Because I get the feeling that I should probably put that in the back end of the thing. Just focus on the gear.
So you would want it to be the step just before when you start brute forcing Sweetwaters past 17, right? And since you're still working on the boat and you don't have those yet, it's probably like a step further down. So it's okay to not have the flame score and the transpose yet, which means that you can dedicate the money from the flaming towards flaming the weapon and the arcane stuff instead, and then get the gains immediately instead of having them just sit in your inventory and waiting for when that comes around. So once you see that the dineros is starting to come in and you can start getting backup pieces for Sweetwater, when that makes sense, when it's the next thing that's on trial, then setting some money aside for actually buying flames if you haven't, locked into a good flame. Because right now, like I said, like the shoe can be a good flame, but other than that, it's all going towards your weapon. And then maybe if you get the arcane piece, like maybe on your cape, right? And then after that, it would go to Dominator and Papulatus Mark, basically. But, there's a very low chance that you actually happen to lock into a really good transpose-worthy flame. You're probably just going to get some okay-ish results, and it'd be like, nah, that's just not it. And then once the dinero comes in, and it's like, oh, there's maybe 5, 10, 15, like a month away, I want to make sure that I have it transposed before then, so I can start pushing past 17, and I have the dineros for it. Then you start dedicating some more money into actually just buying flames from the shop. Or maybe, there's an event with like Eternal Flames or something, and you go a little bit harder on those to try to get a really good flame to be able to transpose. And then, get it ready to 16 and transpose it before the event. Some people are like, oh, I'll just transpose it on the day of. That usually doesn't work because transposing is a very low chance. So make sure you don't wait too late for that. So to have it ready at 15-star Sweetwater so you can then go ham when the 5, 10, 15 comes around.
Oh, okay. Sounds good on that.
Yeah, having the pet mark already and having the droplets already puts you in a good position where you can kind of just like look from a distance, look at the events, and then plan safely. Other people might have to kind of like rush upgrades, or at your current stage, they might be looking at like getting everything to 18, like a little bit higher risk. Or, start thinking about like the belts and the earrings already to try to go into higher Star Force Superior to push on that. But since you're so high on the droplets, you can... you don't need to push that high, because just the arcane weapon is already going to feel like such a huge improvement. And then the card finale reroll after that, those things are going to be such a solid increase in your base damage that's going to take a lot of pressure off of like, needing to be way stronger, because that's going to carry a lot of the damage.
A lot of the weight, yeah.
Yeah, for most
just the
people.
base stats of like...
Yeah, yeah, the base stat, and because the base stat and the flame percentage is also better at level 200. So for to compare, like with the old party that I was in, we had a dual blade, and I think he had a 20-star or 21-star Abzo that was like tier 6 flame and like good potential. And when he got the arcane drop, he got just the tier 6 attack flame on the arcane, and it was still clean, not Star Force, not potential, and it was already a range increased compared to the Absolab.
Oh my god.
Because the percentage is higher, the base is higher, and then the flame gets way better, and there's the combination of I don't think I have an arcane on here now, but it's just gonna be 100+ weapon attack just out of nowhere, just for free. Well, not for free. You worked for it, right? But you've already worked for it, so now it's time to capitalize on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that you feel like we missed, or anything that you still had a question about.
No. I think we covered everything, because the daunting questions were, the whole moving into arcanes, the transposing, the flaming, and kind of like the familiar approach towards it.
Yep.
Obviously, start doing will one way or another.
Yep.
Start working on that so I can get the shoulder as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and if there's too many, well, yeah, I mean, I think your party just needs that practice. So maybe dragging your party a little bit harder to be like, hey, let's practice a few times this week. When is everyone available? Because that's just a initial hump that everyone has to get over. And I think if you get your weapon on top of that, that's going to be able to be like, hey guys, I just went from like 3 trill to 4.5 or something, because it's gonna make a huge difference. Maybe not that big, but it's gonna make a huge difference, and that will maybe give everyone hope. Like, oh yeah, shit, let's do it, dude. This guy's cracked right now. He's gonna carry us. Let's go.
And some damage. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get that Firmo carry in there. All right. If there's nothing else that you can think of right now, I mean, if something does come up, I'll upload it to YouTube. You'll probably watch it back. If something does come up, you just hit me up on Discord, or if it's a small question, I already have the commands, and we always have a very helpful chat that is willing to help you out. So don't be shy and fire away with those questions.
And absolutely, I'll probably take a look at the progression, right, and then be like, all right, I forgot this or I forgot that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, not too high on those Star Force costs on the Arcanes. They're in the 5 to 15. I think. Well, I'll pray for you, and I believe in RNGesus, so you know the.
Let's go, dude.
Maple God. But yeah, best of luck. And oh, you want to do any shout outs to the guild or something? I don't know. To your party.
I mean, shout out to Saku, best guild in Reboot.
Okay.
And
best guild.
You know, watch out for me. I'll be clearing Black Mage.
All right. Is that your cat?
Yeah, that is my kitty. She's 2 months old, so
damn.
She goes wild all the time.
Looking for attention and discovering everything.
Yeah, I was helping a friend out last week to clear Lucid, and she made me burst like 5 times. She was just getting the keyboard.
Oh, walk on a keyboard? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. The best part is when you have like streamers who have cats, and the cats just walk on the power button and just stop the stream. Yeah. There's so many clips of that happening. Cats just they go where they want to go, yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for her to do that because I have like the Wi-Fi stick, and dude, she's been just staring at it for the
especially if there's
time.
Like a shining light on it.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, and it's like, ooh.
And the light ticks, so it's like killing her.
It's shiny. What does this do?
Yeah.
All right. Well, best of luck with everything. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you around.
Likewise. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no problem. Bye. All right, cool. All right, so let me guys know. Nice. Let me know, guys, what you think. Starting to add like the timestamps to it. Hopefully, we can optimize that a little bit more. But let me know how you like that. I have drawn the winners as well of the December comments for the free session. So those people should have messages in Discord, in YouTube. I have not checked my Discord messages yet, so it's possible that you guys have already replied. If you haven't, please do. If you would like to win a session, make sure you leave a comment saying so in the description of the YouTube video. And for everyone else, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed your time here. If you want one of these sessions and you don't want to wait for the monthly draw, you can check the description to see how you can go about getting a session with me like this. And as always, I hope you were able to pick something up, or at least just enjoyed the podcast. I know a lot of you guys just listening while you're doing totems. Good luck on the last little bit of your totem. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Good job, YouTube.